In May of 2021, a historical marker was erected near the intersection of Ponce de Leon Avenue and Oakdale Road. It tells the story of the life and tragic death of Porter Flenoy Turner. He was a husband and father of 2 sons. A diligent provider, Turner worked 60 hours a week as a mechanic and porter at a car dealership and garage. He made extra money by driving a cab at night. On the evening of August 20th, 1945, 50-year-old Turner was stabbed on the lawn of a home on Springdale Road. It would be June of 1946 before it was revealed that members of the Ku Klux Klan bragged about Turner's killing. No arrests were ever made in the lynching.
Benjamin E. Mays High School was established in 1981, replacing Southwest High School. It is the first Atlanta public school named for a living African-American man. Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays was a renowned minister, educator, and civil rights activist. Considered the spiritual mentor to civil rights giant Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Mays served as president of Morehouse College from 1940 to 1967. Known as an Academy of Math and Science, Benjamin Elijah Mays High School Educational would be recognized as a National School of Excellence in 1987, just 6 years after opening its doors. I'm a proud graduate of Benjamin Elijah Mays High School. As for other famed alumni, former Atlanta City Council member Caesar Mitchell, renowned artist Radcliffe Bailey, Grammy Award-winning rapper, singer, and producer CeeLo Green, and none other than Andre Dickens, the 61st mayor of the city of Atlanta.
Today is Rosa Parks' Day. It's the anniversary of her birthday, and her action was about making sure that transit was available for everybody. It was about desegregating buses so that everybody could ride. And so I think that it's a great reminder as Transit Equity Day that transit is really about access. It's about making sure that people can get to jobs, can get to work, can get to school. And so her legacy is one that's not only about desegregation, but it's also about economic access. There's this incredible 1950s bus behind me, similar to the one that Rosa Parks sat down and wouldn't move on. She was an inspiration that individual people can make a difference, that individual people as part of a whole can really change America. Public transit is really the backbone of making sure that our economy can grow. Whether it's bus or it's rail, it's really the way that we are able to move our lives. And so I think the vision for equity in transit is making sure transit's everywhere, making sure it's affordable, making sure that it goes to the places that we need it to go.
Auburn Avenue was considered one of Atlanta's most famous streets, replete with successful Black-owned businesses, beautiful houses of worship, and an unparalleled nightlife. Sweet Auburn Historic District generated significant wealth prior to the Civil Rights Movement. A bustling thoroughfare, it was home to Atlanta Life Insurance Company and the nation's first successful black newspaper, the Atlanta Daily World. Renowned artists like Miles Davis and Gladys Knight graced the stage of the Royal Peacock. Sunday mornings meant Big Bethel AME Church and the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, where both Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr. delivered powerful sermons. Civil rights activist and businessman John Wesley Dobbs coined the area Sweet Auburn. Dubbed its unofficial mayor, he was the grandfather of Atlanta's first black mayor, Maynard Jackson. Sweet Auburn Historic District received a National Historic Landmark designation in 1976.
Today is Transit Equity Day. It's a day that's recognized across the country to recognize how important public transportation is to the lives of people in our communities, and that it's important to also support the people in our communities who rely on public transportation to get around. Today is also Rosa Parks' birthday, so this is a very important Transit Equity Day because of the inequities that were experienced on the public transportation systems in Montgomery, Alabama. It's a rainy day today. A lot of people who are trying to get to work are having to stand out in the rain waiting for a bus that might come 10 or 15 minutes later, may come a little early and might disrupt their whole day. We need to make sure that people can get around safely. Having relied on public transportation myself for several years, having given up my car and commuting all the way up to Forsyth County from right here in Mechanicsville, I've seen the daily realities of so many of my neighbors, of my constituents, and I want to make sure that I could take that history, that legacy, as an inspiration to make sure we get better policy for everyone across the city of Atlanta.
Good morning. Morning. Today is February 21st, and this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Committee on Council. I am Andrea Boone, chair of this committee, and I would like to welcome everyone who has joined us this morning. Mr. Johnson, will you please conduct the roll call?
Here. Councilmember Andrea Boone.
Present.
Councilmember Amir Faroki. Here. Councilmember Dustin Hillis. Here. Councilmember Antonio Lewis. Here. Here. Councilmember Mary Norwood.
Here.
Councilmember Howard Shook.
Aye.
Councilmember Matt Westmoreland. Here. Quorum present, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The Committee on Council recommends on matters pertaining to the operation of the Atlanta City Council, executive branch appointments confirmed by the Council, ethics issues such as conflict of interest, revision, codification, and clarification of ordinances and resolutions, Council agenda, elections, rules, conduct and decorum of Council and members, and procedures for the Office of City Council and the Office of Municipal Clerk. Mr. Johnson, please read our remote meeting statement.
Yes, Madam Chair. This Committee on Council meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with Georgia Code 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 404-902-5066, conference ID 151945, which was noted on the February 18, 2022 Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantanga.gov. The Council's YouTube channel or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Committee on Council presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on February 18, 2022 via atlantacitygA.iqm2.com. In addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6059 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Motion moved by Hillis, seconded by Lewis. Please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Antonio second.
Motion by Westmoreland, second by Lewis. Please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? 7 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Is there a motion to adopt the full council agenda? So moved.
So moved, Hillis. Second, Hillis.
Moved by Norwood, Vice Chair Norwood, and second by Hillis. Please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Lewis in favor.
Thank you, Councilmember.
7 yeas, 0 nays. The full council agenda has been adopted.
Staff, do we have any public comments, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. But may we take item number 4 for communications? Can I sound that item?
Yes. Please sound that item.
Item number 4, 22C, 5023, a communication from Mayor Andre Dickens appointing Ms. Lisa Gordon to serve as Chief Operating Officer for the City of Atlanta.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is Ms. Gordon available at this time to speak? I believe Ms. Gordon is on the line, Mr. Johnson.
One moment. One moment.
Good morning. This is Lisa Gordon.
Good morning, Ms. Gordon. How are you?
I am good. I'm delighted to speak with this committee this morning.
Well, welcome to the Committee on Council. We'd like to hear from you.
Yes, I'm excited to join City of Atlanta as the Chief Operating Officer. As you may know, I have more than 25 years experience in local government. I am a licensed CPA, and I also worked in the City of Atlanta previously in the mayor's office as a cabinet member. I look forward to working with the Mayor Dickens, and the entire City Council on making sure we can transform our city and focus on our core services with innovation and excellence. I know that you all, and we are all committed to outstanding service to our citizens and businesses, and I look forward to working with you as we continue to do great things in our city.
Ms. Gordon, well, I would like to thank you for your responsiveness thus far on various topics, and I would like to open the floor up for questions or concerns from the members of the Committee on Council at this time.
Shook with a motion to approve. Second, Hillis.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Shook and second by Mr. Hillis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Lewis, yes.
Seven yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Staff, please play public comment.
One moment.
Greetings, members and staff of the Committee on Council. A special greetings to you, citizens and voters of Atlanta who are listening to our public officials and to comments by the public. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. The City of Atlanta Integrity Hotline, under the purview of this committee, is highly to be praised for the process whereby citizens of Atlanta may initiate complaints about ethics and integrity. Beyond the input process, however, there is room for improvement. After providing details about who, what, when, where, and how, a complainant is provided a report key for follow-up. Well, I do not expect any significant changes just because I complain about how People TV management manipulates People TV board meetings, or just because I complain about being muted at meetings of the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board and at Zoom meetings of the Neighborhood Planning Unit, or what I do expect is something more than a complaint has been forwarded to the, quote, responsible persons, unquote. What I do expect also is something more than, have you found your complaint about discrimination with the municipal clerk's office? Come on now. We think it's time, and I hope somebody will agree that it's time for a report on how integrity has been enhanced. in the city of Atlanta by our integrity hotline system.
Madam Chair, that concludes our public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We are ready for item 1.
Madam Chair, can we take items number 1 through 3 together as a block? If there's no objection from the committee.
We will take items 1 through 3 if there are no objections.
Item number 1, 22C, 5020, a communication from council members Dustin Hillis, District 9, Andrea L. Boone, District 10, and Keisha Shawn Waits, Post 3 at large, appointing Mr. Kenneth Hill to serve as a member of the Zoning Review Board. This appointment is a term for 2 years. Item number 2, 22C, 5021, a communication from council members Dustin Hillis, District 9, Andrea L. Boone, District 10, Marcy Collier-Overton, District 11, Antonio Lewis, District 12, and Keisha Shawn Waits, Post 3 at large, reappointing Mr. Barry Kamak to serve as a member of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. This appointment is for a term of 2 years to begin retroactively on February 4th, 2021 and expire February 3rd, 2023. And lastly, item number 3, 22C, 5022, a communication from Elizabeth Coyle, Chair of Beltline Network, Inc., submitting the appointment of Mr. Andrew Garain to serve on the Atlanta Beltline Tax Allocation District Advisory Committee. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
Is there a motion to approve?
Antonio moves.
Second by Norwood. Please open the vote.
One moment. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 7 yeas, 0 nays. These items are found favorable.
Mr. Johnson, next item.
This takes us to Section I, Ordinance for First Reading. Item number 5, 22-0-1150, an ordinance by the Council to amend the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinance Section 66-2, precinct boundary lines and polling places by amending the 2017 precincts and polling places ordinance in Fulton County precincts 02L2, 03I, 03C, 06R, 07M, 08A, 08G, and 11R due to the facilities unable to accommodate facility undergoing renovations, facility is inadequate, and facility voting site is not handicap accessible and for other purposes. Madam Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. At this time, the Committee on Council would like to speak to the Law Department regarding the appointment for the Atlanta Regional Commission and get a complete overview of this issue. Do we have the Law Department on the phone?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam
Can you hear
Chair.
me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Okay. Yes. Pursuant to your request, this weekend we were asked to provide an opinion regarding whether the Atlanta City Council is obligated to vacate its previous actions, which resulted in the adoption of Resolution 22R3136 concerning the Atlanta City Council's appointee to the Atlanta Regional Commission Board. As you will recall, during the last full meeting of council, there was a discussion pursuant to Section 2-1852 regarding the appointment by the Council of individuals to boards, commissions, and authorities. In the course of the discussion, there was a question raised about whether the council president could serve as a member or the representative from the city council. I mistakenly read the pre-2014 version of the applicable state law, which indicated that the only members of the council could serve. Shortly thereafter, when I became aware of the error, I made the effort to make the council aware, and I did a subsequent memorandum so that each council member would be aware that the information that was provided was incorrect and that the law was changed such that the city council president could serve. In the course of that, there was polling done or a vote taken, and as well as the withdrawal of the nomination from the council president, at which time the other candidate was named as the appointee. Subsequent to that, the resolution was amended to include the name of the of Councilmember Westmoreland. A vote was taken, and it is in effect by operation of law. And so the question raised was, in light of the error, whether there was a legal obligation to revisit the issue. And each of you should have received an opinion that was authored by Amber Robinson. The bottom line was, from a legal standpoint, there was no and there is no legal obligation to revisit the issue. It can be revisited through passage of another resolution, which would vacate the prior resolution. However, there was nothing patently illegal about the resolution that was voted on by the council. Ms. Robinson is also on the line and can provide any additional details, and we're both available to answer any questions.
Before we hear from Ms. Robinson, I would like to hear from Mr. Forrest Webb, the clerk of the City Council, to give us a recap of the election.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Our nominating process.
Yes, Madam Chair. The nomination process was held in conjunction with Section 2-1852, whereby notification of the chair of said vacancy was done on January 14th. Subsequent to that, the chair notified the president as well as the members of council that a nomination would be required, which was subsequently sent on January 24th. And the third action, there was a reminder by the chair to the council president as well as the council members that on January 22nd, it was a reminder that said nominations for the ARC are anticipated. Action number 4, the chair notified the president and members of council of the balloting process and that 2 nominees had been nominated on January the 31st. Subsequent to that, the balloting process took place at the February 7th council meeting, pursuant to this particular code section, which requires a ballot of the nominees to be distributed during the meeting to all council members and subsequently returned to the Office of Municipal Clerk for tabulation.
What were the results of the election, sir?
There were no conclusive results at that particular time, although there was an announcement by myself as municipal clerk that President Shipman had the prevailing number of votes. Although the announcement was made, there was not a declaration by either the president nor the chair of CLC. However, there was clarification provided at that time by the chair of CLC that prior to the announcement that President Shipman had withdrawn his name from consideration. At that point, there was an announcement made by chair of CLC, who was the nominee, which the nominee at that time was Councilmember Matt Westmoreland.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask the law department to come back on to address any questions or concerns from this body. We also would like to recognize the Honorable Doug Shipman, President of the Atlanta City Council, who is present on this meeting.
Madam Chair, the law department is available for questions.
Colleagues?
Madam Chair, I have a question for the municipal clerk, if that is in order.
Yes, Vice Chair Norwood.
Mr. Municipal Clerk, when there was a prevailing number of votes for one candidate over another, had all 15 council members registered a vote at that time?
Councilwoman Norwood, not officially. And when I say not officially, there were 4 votes that were in question. As I indicated before, there were ballots that were sent out to the individual council members. And subsequently, we had 4 council members that returned their votes in a non-traditional manner. One was by a verbal phone call. One was via text. One was via a screenshot of their ballot. And the 4th, we had a council member that had an interest or desire to change their vote. Subsequent to the announcement, my staff was working to confirm those actual votes via a documented hard copy, because the role of the municipal clerk is, upon completion of the ballots, to have those ballots reflected, attached to the resolution, so that there will be no discrepancies as to how an individual voted. So although I was told verbally, via text, via screenshot, and it was requested to have a council member change their vote, I had not received those 4 individuals' documented confirmation at the time that I made the announcement. And so subsequently, the announcement was premature, and it was, in my estimation, out of order, because that was not the question that was being asked of me at that particular time, which was further clarified by the chair. However, because we're in a remote environment, responding to text messages, emails, as well as phone calls while I'm in a live meeting became a challenge at that particular time. So I did not hear the original question that was being asked. And subsequently, when I announced that vote, it was premature, if that provides you any clarity.
Yes, it's my understanding that a vote is legally enacted when all 15 members of council have been recorded according to your rules, your procedures. And so that was not a vote that would be a legally recorded vote, because you had not been able to accumulate the various remote ways in which council members could had taken the initiative to record differently than what you had anticipated. Is that correct?
Primarily it is, and in addition to that, the most important thing, the vote has to be declared. The clerk will announce the vote, but the vote always has to be declared by either the presiding officer, president, or the chair of the respective committee. And that was not
okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chair Norwood. Do we have any other questions or concerns before the law department? Is the law department still here?
We're still present.
Yes. Madam City Attorney, would you please go back to
the 2014 statute, go back to that and bring us up to speed on how the mix-up happened.
What occurred was I was asking for a copy of it from my staff. I was provided a copy, but it was the 2010 copy or version as opposed to the 2014 or more current version of the legislation. Clearly, it was an error and resulted in misinformation being provided to the council.
Council Member Amir Faroki, I see your hand, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chairwoman Boone. I don't have a question for the law department. I think they've made it clear what their error was and how things stand from their perspective. Is now appropriate to make some reflections on where we stand, or are you still asking for questions of the law department?
Whatever your Council Member.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Whatever my what?
Your pleasure.
Okay,
thank you. Questions, concerns, or we can move to action items.
Yeah, so, I know this is a frustrating and uncomfortable situation and process for many council members, but given, and I did not know until Mr. Webb spoke about the status or lack thereof of the vote count a couple weeks ago. It's clearly been a messy process for all the reasons that have just been discussed. It sits uneasy with me that we're in this kind of weird limbo space where if we do nothing, I guess things stand through a somewhat, I wouldn't say somewhat, through an imperfect and a little bit of a blind process on our part. And so my inclination, and I may be the only one on this committee who feels this way, and this is no judgment of Council Member Westmoreland or Council President Shipman, who would both ably represent our body at the ARC. I don't think anyone on council would argue that they would represent us well. Either of them would represent us well. But I think for the sake of the integrity of this body and the public trust, which, we already, and I say we being the world, we, council, government in general, tends to find itself on thin ice and public trust for a whole host of reasons. But I would be more comfortable if we moved to have a revote today at full council. I know that's an added element of stress for some folks, but I think for the sake of public confidence and for kind of a clean process, knowing what we know is the law now and knowing that the previous vote may not have been fully complete when it was announced, it's worth doing, even if the results are different. I have no inclination on how folks want to vote on the matter, but from a process perspective, I'm of the opinion that we should offer a revote at full council today.
Thank you, Mr. Faroki. I have a question for the law department, and I want to do what is in the best interest of this body and of the city. And my question is this. We understand that we had faulty information. In my 12 years of serving on city council, there were many votes that we had over the years where we did not have perfect information. We took votes. We got last-minute information. There were just, in my 12 years, many, many times that the information was not 100% perfect, complete, and we took votes. I have never in my 12 years seen us say, because the information was not perfect, complete, accurate, the department was late, whatever, that we rescinded a vote and then took a new vote. Law department, y'all, please correct me my recollection is inaccurate.
Madam Vice Chair, I can only speak to during the time that I've been here, and during that time, I'm not aware of it. I can ask Ms. Robinson, who has been here longer than I have, what her recollection is.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, good morning. This is Amber Robinson from the Law Department. Believe I would agree during my time at the city. I would agree with Councilor Norwood. I've not seen this occur in the past under similar circumstances.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Antonio moves, we adjourn.
Boone moves, second by Councilmember Antonio Lewis. This meeting is adjourned.